Welcome in, everybody, to the Husker Gutter, named by you, the fans, mainly Pitt Snipe, who probably, last time I gave him credit for that. He wasn't even here. So, but
he's going to get royalties soon.
Yeah. But before we get into it, Brian, how you doing today?
I'm doing phenomenal. How are you, sir?
Doing fantastic. Been a little bit of a busy day. Got home did my piano, got home from boxing, showered, let my dogs out, and jumped on here. And we, right off rip, we have a couple new members. First off, Bone Leg Corn Fed. Shout out. Let me. I got my other audio interface set up. Hopefully it's not too loud in everybody's ears. Hopefully that's should have tested the volume of that before. And Justin, I appreciate you, man. We got 2 new members here. Appreciate everybody who is a member. We will have y'all coming across the bottom of the screen. Everybody who's in each tier, we appreciate it so much. Thank y'all for the extra contributions to the show. We appreciate it. Appreciate y'all being here every week. So much as a view, everything helps us out. But memberships and super chats help us out a ton. So thank y'all very much. As y'all know, this show is a call-in show, so we're going to drop the link in the chat right here for you. And well, let me drop it in there. Now you click that link. You do not need video. If you just want to do audio, that is a-okay. We don't need to see your face if you don't want us to. So don't stress about that too much. I'm trying to see on the other side of my screen here, but my mic's little boom arm is in the way. So, all right, perfect. So we got a few things coming up this week. 7-on-7 actually coming up tomorrow. We had some Huskers inducted into the Hall of Fame. And whatever y'all want to talk about, we're going to talk about. So y'all make sure to hit that link, call in, and like I said, nothing's off limits here. But Brian, 7-on-7 coming up, man. How you feeling about that overall?
Well, I think Nebraska is the first program to do this, and we're going to put this on pause.
Oh, yeah, we got Mike calling in. Mr. Mike. We can always count on Mike, man. What's going on, Mike? Appreciate you hopping in here, sir.
Gentlemen, how are we doing this fine Thursday evening?
We are doing excellent, man. How are you?
Good.
Doing good. And I'm glad you guys were talking about the 7-on-7 drill. That not just that, but the whole summer conditioning, summer routine, all that. Yeah. This is where a team is made, and this is where a team's lost, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
This is where you start building team chemistry. This is where you start finding out who's the Jimmies and the Joes, the ones that are going to possibly play Saturday and the ones that are going to play Saturdays,
Mm-hmm.
If they don't take their workout and stuff seriously and stuff, they're probably not going to be playing.
Yeah. When it comes to conditioning and stuff like that, it's a matter of not only who's going to get out there and do the work, but who's going to get out there. They find the leaders, who's going to get out there and push the other teammates, not just do the bare minimum. It's kind of like, when they go through the winter mat drills or and they're doing the, what Matt Rule had talked about before, where it's like, they do this point-based system where each, person gets points on doing stuff they don't want to do, whether it's going to like a volleyball game, during that time frame, or going to a women's basketball game or something during that time frame. It's doing the things that you don't necessarily want to do, but you're going to stick out there and do it anyways because you're a leader. And this is another phase in that. The guys who are going to get out there, push each other, and bring the younger guys along, and who are the younger guys that may step up and help some of the older guys too. So yeah, you're right. Conditioning is the make or break. Conditioning is everything, because it's. Trust me, I did a lot of conditioning today. It's rough. When that quit hits your mind, you really gotta push through that. So
yeah. And also too, they get I want to say 3 days a week, 4 hours each day for coaches who actually do instructional stuff now. So that'll help a lot with the development. That'll help a lot with the organization, the structure of everything that they're working on top of, they can put in as much work on their own. That was what Dylan did a lot last year, was their own work. He got, 60, 70 players together, and he did it again this winter, and they're getting, I think one recruit was on a visit, and he said there was 90 players that he had gotten together all in the Hawks Championship Center working out and working on plays and whatever. Right. And it's big that you get that extra work in.
Absolutely. And we're always talking football, so I'm going to kind of switch it here a little bit. What on earth is going on with our baseball team with the mass transfers all of a sudden?
Brian, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to, only one of them I'm kind of worried about, and that's Brumbaugh, right? That left at 309, hit 309. The other guys collectively all hit below 220. So I'm not overly worried.
Yeah, but without Robbie Bolin, we don't make it out of the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, that one does suck. I'll admit that one does suck. I think he had a lot of promise. He just wasn't hitting very good. I think they're going to be okay, though. I mean, the portal's there. They'll go get some guys.
Yeah. Didn't they also, with this whole roster limit thing, I know it's different for every sport. I know football has to get down to 105 or at some point, but don't other sports advance in scholarships and stuff too? Like, don't they get more scholarships?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's kind of what I was wondering.
And the thing about with the baseball team, kind of like Brian talked about, it's like it too, like, what is our expectation as a fan base for the baseball team? Like, do we have championship aspirations for them? Like, do we anticipate them being kind of like this is kind of what they are, this gritty, scrappy team that occasionally can maybe push for the like, that's the hard part of determining in the modern NIL is how we divvy up all this money between, women's volleyball, men's basketball, football, and where does baseball fit into that? Like, Mike, where would you put baseball in that kind of echelon of importance?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know where you actually rank it and stuff at, but I guess I'm one of these that if you're going to pay a coach any substantial amount of money that, an average person can't make in a year, then I would expect to be over 500,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I think it's such a tough thing to navigate, I feel like, because with baseball, rosters are so big, and then you really have to hit on one of these guys. And I feel like it's just been so long since we've hit on a recruit that's been a really high level. Like, honestly, like, what's our last like high level baseball recruit? Like that Alex Gordon? Like,
I think Bryce Matthews was pretty big.
Bryce Matthews, yeah.
Yeah, Max Anderson.
But the ones that kind of panned out the best.
Yeah, Max Anderson, right?
Yep.
Spencer Schwellenbach.
Yep.
Stuff like that. That's the ones I can think of.
The one I'll plug is Kyle Kubat, just because I've known Kyle. We played basketball together back in the day. He was a pitcher. He went undrafted, played in the White Sox organization for 10 years. He was a really good pitcher for Nebraska, though. He was in rotation.
But you can still like count on one hand, and these teams that are consistently good in baseball, they just keep reloading with these guys like over and over and over and over again. And that's kind of, it's like, how are we going to get to that point where we're a destination to where we can get some of these guys back, into this team? So, I mean, do you think Bolt's the guy, Brian?
It depends. I don't have very high expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So for baseball, getting to a regional and every year is my expectation. If he's doing that, I'm fine. Mm-hmm. But because I look at it like baseball for Nebraska this is going to be a weird comparison. So hang tight with me here. Baseball for Nebraska is going to be like a really good FCS football team that loses their players to Nebraska or to Ohio State or whoever, right? Our best players, if we develop them and they turn into really good, like Brumbaugh, probably going to go somewhere else where they care more about baseball. They're going to pay him more. I think that's exactly what we're going to see happen with Nebraska baseball. Unfortunately, that's my prediction. So Justin, I don't know if Bolt's the guy, but I like where we're at.
Just said, I think baseball's fourth in the list. Football, volleyball, basketball, and baseball brings in the least amount of money by far between the four. It's a lot harder to generate a large amount of
It loses money.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's the biggest thing, too. And it's like, but like, if it's not Bolt, who? Because...
Yeah, who is it?
That's the other thing, too, because are you going out and paying top dollar for another coach? With that being said, with the financial situation the way it is there, I just feel like baseball's in this weird kind of like middle ground where it's like we don't know where to go. It's just kind of like we feel like it's just kind of stuck right here. And it's frustrating as fans because with football, I feel like we do have this, every year, even though it doesn't always pan out, but like we know based on historical, football with Nebraska, just the history of football, like we expect that eventually. And even though we've been kicked in the butt, year after year expecting that, we still have that expectation. With baseball, I think it's like we want to have that expectation of getting better. I feel like it's similar with basketball. We want to have that expectation of getting better. And we're kind of like in our minds thinking each year it's going to be that. And then when it's not, then we kind of just get on bolt and get on, kind of get on the baseball team in general. But I think that just is a matter of like, we got to shift our expectations of what we expect from this baseball team. And I think that's a hard thing for us to do because it always still ends up in disappointment, even though, this season for what it was and with the team we had and the way the season went, like where we ended up was still pretty good, all things considered.
I think to follow up on Justin's comment here, I think I could even see baseball being rated 5th. You got wrestling in there too. That's always good.
Yep.
Where's our guy Joseph? with our Husker wrestling comment, he'll be in here eventually, I'm sure. But yeah,
you got to include track and field in that conversation too. Track and field's always good.
Women's basketball,
yeah, absolutely.
Women's basketball right now, big.
Shorty ball and softball.
They
could be peaking right now at a higher level than they are.
Yeah, it's like I feel like kind of like we're in this arms race of like recruiting and transfer portal. We're also in this arms race of like who's battling for NIL money in terms of the athletic department. And it's like whatever team is getting hot and coming to the forefront at that time, like I feel like whatever's getting left behind is going to get left behind. I feel like you gotta take your sport to the top right now if you want the athletic department to invest in that, because money is tight between all these sports because it takes a lot of money to get these players now in all these sports.
All right, gentlemen, I'm gonna sign off here. I'll watch you guys in the show. Thanks for taking my call.
Mike. Appreciate you, brother. Mike. Always. Thank you, man.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion, man, and it very much comes down to that. It's like there is this arms race now of like whatever sport comes to the forefront. I mean, football is always going to be the lead, but then battling for like whatever team is bringing the most income, that's what they're going to throw the most money at, and baseball's got to get there instead.
Yeah, I think Nebraska has to really figure out what they want to be elite at and what they're settling for being okay with. Like, and it's a harsh reality, but like if you're paying a baseball team, say you're collectively paying them $500,000, $300,000, whatever, right? And they're still out there going, 30 and whatever, right? And they're losing in regionals and you're just not seeing much ROI on that. Wouldn't you just rather take an extra $100,000 out of that budget or that NIL budget and say, hey, we need a really good receiver, a high school recruit, or we need a really good women's, shooting guard, or we need a, really good prospect for the basketball team. I would rather do that personally.
Absolutely. I love Comey's picture here, by the way. Go Big Red. Appreciate you hopping in here. Who's M? Is that my mom? Is Mike your mom? If so, then yes. New revenue, even if we do take a step up. Yeah. Go grab a guy who's been down south his whole career. True.
You got to convince him to come up here, though.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Well, we do have. Do we really have the talent on the baseball team right now? It's like we have a lot of gritty, scrappy talent and players that, when they play that way can be good. We just don't have those guys, the dudes. We don't have the dudes. We don't have the horses in the pen. We don't have the horses in the rotation. It's just a lot of kind of let's see, and that gritty style is just it's kind of wears you down. That's why I feel like the baseball team is so inconsistent throughout the season, and they kind of go on these runs. They go on these good runs, and then they kind of fade off for a little bit. It's because like you can only play that scrappy style of baseball for so long, and it's a wear and tear. It's a grind on you. Oh, let's go. We got Joseph hopping in here, Mr. Husker Wrestling himself. What's up, man?
What is up, guys? How are you?
We're doing great, man. How are you doing?
I just jumped on. I'm well. I just got done from doing second workout of the day, but
Let's go.
let's go. Big Ten Network. You were talking a little bit maybe about like revenue sports and where you want to be. Big Ten Network, and I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent. We all know I love Husker wrestling. Big Ten Network says the top 3 most watched sports on their network is football, basketball, and then wrestling. For the Big Ten Network, wrestling attendance is better than baseball attendance, or for the Big Ten conference. So I like to support Big Ten. I also like to support wrestling because I support Big Ten. Right.
Yeah.
I love baseball. We all love playing baseball when we're kids and playing catch with the kids, etc. To me, baseball is kind of an SEC. It's SEC almost owns baseball. And it's not like I'm anti-baseball, but I would love to see Nebraska invest a little bit more into wrestling, partly because it's like, if it is Big Ten versus the SEC, I want to support the Big Ten sports. Volleyball probably could fall into that category too. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and well, Brian, since you just hopped on a little bit ago when we were talking about the echelon of sports, Brian even threw wrestling in there as the sport that's making it's up there and probably in terms of throwing more money at it than baseball as well. So yeah, Brian threw that in there as well. That's where I was like, "Where's Joseph at? I know he's going to be in here eventually." And then you called in, so yeah, I'm in agreement with you. It's huge, especially because you got schools like Penn State, those like high level wrestling schools, and if we throw more money at it, and like you said, like you see just kind of the national attention that those sports even get when you have those guys like you have these high level guys that they're even talking about in the national picture, even like he's talking about moving to the higher level like UFC and all that. Like it gets attention from that space too whenever it comes down to wrestling. And we talked about oh my gosh, what was that guy's name? I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on him that got upset.
Gable Stevenson.
Yeah, Gable Stevenson. I can't believe I was forgetting his name.
Yep. Yeah.
Like just look at that. Like when you have that star power in wrestling, like the desire to watch it and like people want to be interested in that. Like that
absolutely. I agree.
Just getting those names.
Gable Stevenson, Minnesota, wrestled Nebraska at Lincoln this year, and he was signing autographs and taking selfies before the duel started, and the line was ridiculous. It was just nonstop, and he was very gracious. And also, speaking of that guy, that iconic moment where he salutes, whether you like the president or don't, that was an iconic moment. Yep. A lot of people saw that. I mean, I don't know if Sports Center was like, that was a top play, but that was huge. That was like a big moment for the sport, big moment for Big Ten. And I'm a wrestling guy, so I'm going to keep hammering everybody with Husker wrestling.
I love it.
It probably drives people nuts, but
we love it here.
Great. Yeah.
No, you just see Husker wrestling comment.
Right. Yep. I'll agree. You guys do give it a little publicity, and I love it. So where I thank you guys for that.
We need to talk more about it, but I mean, more so like we love it when you bring it in here, but it is something that we probably need to add more to the rotation because, I love combat sports and all that too. So,
yeah, we've got I'll try not to be too long, but we've got great men. They're very faithful men. They're religious. The whole program is pretty faith based. Manning is pretty religious. And a lot of the team is religious also. Like Brock Hardy he did like a 2-year mission where he didn't even wrestle for 2 years. And not a lot of people know that story of how he stepped away from everything to go, serve his religion, so to speak. Yeah. Antrell Taylor, his family has been, he's an Omaha kid he's had like tragedy after tragedy affect his family, and he's overcome that, wins a national title. A lot of people don't know that story. And I think if they did, you would get maybe 10, 20 more people to go to a duel. And then you get those guys that go to a duel and they're like, hey, this was pretty nice, fairly cheap. Parking's pretty easy. Next thing you know, we're starting to draw numbers they're not going to be Iowa numbers. They're not going to be Penn State numbers, but
You got to start somewhere.
You got.
You can get 5,000-6,000 there pretty easily.
Right. Absolutely. I agree 100%. Anyway, I love your guys' show. Cannot wait for Husker football. As much as I love Husker wrestling, I still love Husker football more. But I appreciate it all. Thanks for what you guys do. Glad you let me jump on the show.
Of course, man. Call in anytime, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Bye.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just a lot of respect for wrestlers in general. Like I say this all the time, but you know, when I started boxing, I was like, boxing is the hardest thing I've ever done. I ran cross country, played soccer, played baseball, football, the whole nine. But nobody works harder than wrestlers at all. Like nobody. That is the most grueling training ever. And that's another reason why I feel like it deserves, you know, maybe a little bit more attention, because I don't think people even realize just like the wrestling out there is one thing. But if people could see behind the scenes at like how just insanely grueling their training is and how in such incredibly good shape these guys are in, like I think they would have a new appreciation for it. We talk about winter mat drills of football and stuff like that. Like wrestling is like that every single practice. You know, it's a grind. It's grueling. So
I think too, like I like it kind of like from a financial perspective too, comparing like he mentioned Husker or no, wrestling in general, right, was third most watched thing on BTN this year. So from like a financial perspective, right, when you're comparing Husker baseball to Husker wrestling, you have substantially less costs associated with wrestling just for travel purposes, roster purposes, facility purposes, etc. And they also, one thing too, they've been very consistent under Manning for however long he's been there, like 20 years.
Great coach.
And I believe 3, if not at least 2, not 3 wrestlers won titles this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And
I think it was 3 before.
So like, to me, from a financial perspective, it makes more sense to shift resources to wrestling. You can get the same amount of attendance at wrestling if you continue to have this high level of success. Whereas baseball, you're middle of the road, Big Ten. We finished 8th this year. We've won the conference twice in 15 years.
Yep.
And this year was, let's be real, kind of a fluke that they won it.
Yeah. And I think
it's just never been good.
I think you bring up a good point with how much money you have to throw at it. It's a lot less than you'd have to throw at baseball and all that stuff. Yeah. And two, like just the fact that the Big Ten in general, you know, there's so many big names in the Big Ten in Husker wrestling and so many big time schools, like just by nature of that and competing against those guys, like you're always going to get attention. It just needs more attention from our fan base and myself included, you know?
And I'm fine too with like, I'm not saying you get rid of the baseball program, but like I'm fine with shifting those resources because the way like the Big Ten is like, they really care about football. They really care about wrestling. They really care about volleyball. Mm-hmm. So you should aspire to be damn good at all 3 sports. They don't care about baseball. And you're also at a huge disadvantage in Nebraska where 6 months out of the year, you're playing inside or you're at an indoor training facility that's for a football team.
Yeah. You better not say get rid of any sport. Remember what happened in Coronation when we talked about basketball.
I'm not saying you get rid of it. I'm just shifting resources, reallocating your funds.
They went after him hard for that one. We got a new member, Mr. Brandon Lee. Appreciate you becoming a member. Thank you so much, everybody. All of our members, we thank you greatly. Thank you all for tuning in, man. We could not do this without y'all. So thank you very much. Much appreciated, Brandon.
Let me go get him added real quick to the scroll bar there.
Add you to the scroll bar. And now that we're getting some more members, we can kind of start working on that members only content now.
I've been trying to get that going with member content, and I'm glad we're starting to pick up members because it's going to be good stuff once we get it going.
For sure. All right, let's get into some of these comments here. So there it is, Husker Wrestling. Need to spotlight that anyways. Volleyball 1,000% is number 1 for Nebraska, I think. In terms of money, I think football, but yeah, volleyball is in terms of, well, just because naturally a football team requires a lot more players and more money in general. But yeah, volleyball is right up there with it.
They're getting banked too in NIL.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Did you see the like when they came out with that top 5 list of like college volleyball players in terms of NIL, and it was like I think like 2 or 3 of them were Nebraska players
from this past season?
Yeah.
So it's got to be Harper Murray, Lexi Rodriguez, and Berger.
The past season or the year prior?
I just drew a blank on that hitter's
I
name.
think maybe it was like, I know we had like Lexi's son too. Like she was at the top. Yeah. She was making bank. I mean, yeah, never mind. Yeah, selling alcohol at Haymarket Park is not a huge generator for small crowds like baseball. It's crazy when baseball comes out here. We got a huge, like, of course, contingent of fans out in Arizona. But when baseball comes out here, it gets packed out here. Like they come out for that early season, that first series to start the season most years, and it gets pretty packed out of here. For Nebraska in particular, though, volleyball is 1,000% top drawer overall. Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, I made a pretty wild claim that like they could probably sell out PBA every single week. Like they would draw better than basketball, 100%.
I guarantee you, I agree with that. Yeah, 100%. They sell opium every time special team takes the field.
What are we doing?
Oh, maybe wouldn't mind losing so much. Let's see. Wrestling, yes. What's the level in baseball now? What do you mean level? I don't know. You can clarify that question, MD. Appreciate it. To me, it's how they lose. Had lots of games won but lost. You talking about in baseball? Well, my first tournament in Alliance in 4th grade. Let's see. Wrestling Alliance a couple times. So yeah, wrestling. I'm a Husker volleyball / football guy, so I'm doing very well. What's that?
I see a comment about legalizing weed.
I mean, I'm saying it's legal. Do it. I don't know what everybody's waiting on.
$1 a year in tax revenue from weed.
Bro, it's out like it's legal. It's been legal out here, and everything's perfectly fine, bro. Your boy participates in it sometimes. So I live in Kansas, a lot of money.
Nebraska.
When they fire that up, you buy some, you're gonna see how much they make in taxes. They tax the hell out of that. It's a lot of revenue that it brings in. I have no idea what all these states in Texas just like ban THC. Like weed wasn't even legal there in terms of like, recreational, all of that, but they banned THC altogether because there were some ways you could get it in some kind of, I don't really know how it works. There's ways around it because THC was kind of legal. I don't know how that works, but they just banned it there. It really doesn't make sense at this point why everybody it's just a political talking point at this point.
Worst case scenario, you get some munchies.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I can't, bro. Snack like crazy on it. Husker volleyball football guys, some doing very well. Now we are football's on the up at least. So the kids have MDMA now. I'm down with both of those. Let's see. Justin has 2 shirts. I wear sleeves like every show now because in the beginning, one time I had like my sleeveless hoodie on that my wife bought me. It was a Nebraska sleeveless hoodie, and somebody left a comment. It was like, "What do you wear shirtless or sleeveless shirts like on the actual video?" I was like, "Dude, my wife bought it for me. Shut up." People comment the weirdest stuff. One person asked me if I just have headphones on for the looks, and I'm like, "No, this is how I hear Brian and myself."
Yeah. If we took this off, I literally couldn't hear anything you're saying.
So, sure, but only come to Nebraska and only at Iowa borders and Colorado. Let's see. We've done that medically, but Nebraska government is trying all they can to go against an issue that got 70% approval. It's so stupid. Game day in Lincoln, $5,000 toll coming from Iowa or Colorado. Let's see. All right, I'm going to drop this. Anybody else that wants to call in, go ahead and click that link. We had a couple people break the seal, so y'all should be able to call in now. We can talk about anything. It doesn't have to be just Nebraska. Talk about anything I want. Nebraska fans are great at supporting the university of sports, without a doubt. That's the thing. I think we just want every sport to be good, and we want to be positive and supportive of each and every sport. I think sometimes that we got to just understand, like, cannot be good at. Nobody's good at every single sport, you know. So there's going to be some that are going to have to take a back burner, and some we just can't keep throwing millions and millions of dollars at.
Speaking of supporting the 7-on-7 tournament this weekend, I think it starts Saturday at 1, and I think it's free admission or something very cheap. If anything, you get a T-shirt now. You want to support the university, go to that, because there's going to be 40 to 50 4- and 5-star recruits for the next 3 classes competing in 7-on-7. Trey Taylor's going to be there. There's 9 official visitors there. If you can get 5 to 10,000 people to show up for 7-on-7 for guys that Nebraska isn't recruiting or is recruiting, that's going to make a statement.
Yep. Yeah. Speaking of Trey Taylor, he did his Runza review. Did we talk to him about that on the show, the Runza?
Yeah, I asked all the outside, like the out-of-state recruits, if they had Runza, and none of them had at that point. Tanner Turch hadn't. Trey hadn't. If we get any more, I'll ask him.
I didn't want to say this on his post, but he didn't look like he loved it that much. It was sponsored, so I didn't want to be like, you don't look like you like it that much. But if he didn't,
he said 10 out of 10.
It's cabbage. But I just don't like cabbage.
Did you see my reply to him? I was like, we successfully indoctrinated you into our culture.
Yeah. I just told him I don't know about all the chili cinnamon roll, the Cinnabon chili thing.
Yeah.
Is that like a thing that all Nebraskans like? Like, is that like a?
I don't like it.
Okay. Because
because
somebody was like
Nebraska for 17 years.
Yeah, I just don't know how those two go together. Just can't really put my finger on it. I've been one of you guys for a while. Husker volleyball is way too big, averaging 1 million watchers on BTN and ESPN, ABC every single game, regardless of when they play. True.
Yep.
Mike, that's right. That's what I'm talking about. 2 cons. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it rolling, guys.
Reach to the fire.
Hells yeah, Brandon. I swear that volleyball is the next thing in primetime sports. Proud of you for leading the way.
Their biggest problem is they have 3 professional leagues.
Yeah.
They need to condense it down to 1 big league.
Exactly. Yeah, that's tough. It's just a bit too cool here for the first third of baseball for large crowds.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
there's one game a couple years ago snowing in like the 3rd inning.
Really?
Mm-hmm. There was a game in I think it was the Royals and the White Sox probably like 5 years ago where it was like a blizzard in the first couple weeks of the season. It was bizarre.
As football shown, if you win, people show out for that.
Show up we'll show up for whatever.
Shoot, even that Michigan State Nebraska game where it was like, was it 9 to 11 or something? Or 9 to 6? That's what it was. That was the game Maurice Washington jumped over that guy.
Yeah,
he hurdled that guy by like 4 feet.
I had to stay home for that game, but my dad was there, and I was like, "Oh, I wish I was there just for the snow."
Dude, yeah, because I saw people out there shirtless in the snow. I'm like, these dudes are crazy. I ain't built like that. I ain't built like that for snow. We're looking for new revenue streams, Brian. Level of spending. Nebraska has swept all the fake weed off the shelves. The Huskers just secured the number 1 Ohio and number 1
outside hitter.
Number 1 Ohio, and then he said setter. I'm like, oh, we're talking volleyball. Outside hitter, number 1 setter this past recruiting cycle for 2025 class. The Bergen Riley replacement when she finishes 2 Player of the Year. Yeah, the one good thing.
Hunter's the outside hitter. She's incredible.
Yeah. The one thing about
volleyball, brought in a girl from overseas too.
Volleyball always reloads.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. I just brought it up to bother Justin. Me? Thanks, man. Appreciate that. 2 times before this last election, we got enough signatures to get it on the ballot, but they determined that they were fake signatures. How do you do that? They just did they make that up, I'm assuming? They're like, yeah, these are fake.
Like they don't listen to their constituents.
Sounds like politics to me. That visitor list this weekend is insane. Yeah, it is. Brian was like, I don't know if I want to pull it up with all those damn names on it.
Yeah, there's
a ton.
If you're including the official visitors plus all these freaking guys, you're talking 70 recruits, if not more. Because the huddle event was this past weekend, I think the huddle event was.
Yep.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yep. If we can regularly win national championships in every sport, let's change the name to University of Nobody Lincoln. I had a buddy that made Philly cheesesteak runzas with Cheese Whiz. It was so good. It's crazy how such cheap cheese can be so good. Like it's the crappiest, most like dog crap made cheese ever.
Isn't Cheese Whiz the stuff you squirt out of a can?
Yeah, it's the canned cheese.
Oh gosh.
They used to put on Ritz.
That slapped when I was a kid, but
I haven't had it since I was a kid.
Yeah.
They got like bacon flavor now. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it hit the same though. When I was poor, it hit good though.
Okay,
cinnamon roll and chili. So Todd doesn't like it good. Runza is what?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, what were we saying?
When I was a kid and I was living in Omaha, my family and I used to go to this place called Romeo's all the time, and I thought it was the shit. And then I moved away, and I, would go back every time. And then I didn't go back home for a while, other than on game days, so I didn't have much time. And so I finally went back one week. This was probably 6, 7, 8 years since I had it last. And I told my aunt, and I was like, we need to go to Romeo's. Not this time, I'm an adult now. And I was like, this is not good. How did I love this for so long? Just crappy Tex-Mex.
That's why you got to stay away from like childhood stuff you loved.
Yeah.
Because like you reach that point where it just gets ruined for you. It's like Cheese Whiz reminds me of Taco Bell. Like Taco Bell, you remember when they were like, it's like 40% dog food. It's not even like, and like, it's like 20% rubber and 40% dog food. It's not even enough to be considered beef. But like, I would literally eat, like when I was a kid, I would get the 6 hard tacos, 6 soft tacos, and eat that whole thing, like the family meal.
And then be completely unsatisfied.
I ate it for a soccer game one time. No, we all went to Taco Bell for our last soccer game of our senior year. Worst mistake ever. We got
terrible idea
out. We got blown out. We were all slow as hell, sluggish. I need that recipe pit snipe. Have you had Taco Bell as an adult?
Had what?
Taco Bell as an adult.
Oh yeah, all the time.
I haven't had it in a long time.
My wife loves Taco Bell.
Is it still good?
I
was a cheesy gordita crunch guy.
I love the cheesy gordita crunch. When I go there, I usually just get a beefy 5-layer burrito, and then it passes through me in about 15 minutes.
Now I'm hungry.
And then I just need to eat something else.
Guys, now I'm hungry. Chili and cinnamon rolls just go together. First off, you spelt Chile. So it's not even the right thing. Do we get any revenue from neutral games such as playing in Kansas City?
You get ticket revenue.
Yeah, I don't think you get any extra on top of just like the actual revenue from your ticket share.
Whatever media rights you have.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something built in as far as that, but you don't get like a payment as if it was like a small school, like going to the big school where they both get a cut of it or something. Yeah. Wish I had it, Dave. It was the Philly recipe with the Cheese Whiz. There was actually, now that I think about it, there's a place out here that I got a Philly cheesesteak from, and they use Cheese Whiz. It was like the Philly Whiz or something like that. I don't know. And it was actually it slapped. I'm not gonna lie. It slapped. Totally made up. But oh no, here we go. I'm echoing. Get out. All right, now that we got him out of here, let's make sure he stays. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see. Cheese Whiz and Velveeta straight chemicals. Yeah, Velveeta's I used to eat Velveeta straight off the block, though. Literally. I used to eat Velveeta straight off the block. It's the salt and Cheese Whiz. I love salt. I like salt too much. I put buffalo sauce on everything. That's my go-to.
Yeah, that's what I like to do until my body said, nope, not anymore.
Yeah, the way my acid reflux is situated, yes.
Yeah, I get it really bad in my chest.
Mexican pizza. I've actually never had that.
That's what my wife gets from Taco Bell.
Reuben sandwiches might actually be just as popular. Do they have those at Runza?
Taco pizzas?
No, the Reuben sandwiches says Reuben sandwiches might actually be just as popular as Runza's. Or is that just in general?
I think it's just in general would be my guess.
I feel
if
like
they're selling Reuben sandwiches there, then we're going to have a talk with Runza.
Do they sell? Wait, do they sell burgers there, like plain food?
Yeah, and their burgers are phenomenal.
That's what I thought.
I like their chicken strips too. Their ranch is freaking incredible.
I just like going to. I don't know why. I just love Valentino's when I go out there. I've always been a big Valentino's guy.
I go to Runza literally every time. I mean, I joke that it's not that great, but like, I go there every time. So obviously there's something.
I think I need to go to a Runza, a physical Runza.
Yeah, you can't go to, like, you can't get one from the stadium.
Yeah, because that's what I've done in the past. That's what I've done in the past. Can and cheese with roll of Ritz and a tin of Spam. Yeah, you lost me on Spam, bro. You lost me on Spam. My ex was Filipino. They love Spam. That's all they eat is Spam.
That's great. No,
just got done marinating grilled chicken leg quarters. Dinner time. Be out here, but I will be here, but eating. That's right. I just had some shrimp. Is 8-4 enough for football? It's good. Good question. Here's my thing on it. 8-4 is the minimum. That will be enough.
Yeah.
Because it's just a matter of the fact that, like, think about how much attention's on Nebraska negatively for winning 7 games last year. Even though, like, we understand, like, okay, that was part of the process. It's a step in the right direction. Nebraska went 7-5 back-to-back years. The outside pressure would build so much. And it would even 8-4 still it build a little bit, but I feel like 8-4 is enough. It's a good enough looking record. And it's still a step forward. I just think we have to take another step forward. I don't think we can. We're in this developmental Matt Rule, third year. If they go 7-5, 7-5, it's like, what happened to the third year? It's the nature of the beast that we got to at least get 8 wins. I think the over under is what, 6.5, 7.5?
7.5 right now. Yeah.
7.5. Yeah. And they tend to be pretty conservative with those. And again, I just don't think
the under.
I don't think it accounts for a lot of the changes. Like, I think a lot of the outside look of Nebraska, most of the people that I talk to don't understand, the whole offensive coordinator situation throughout the season and how big of a part that played into it, or how actually horrible or like wide receiver core was compared to this year. I don't think they noticed the improvements or know the improvements. This is the first time that I felt confident saying, like, the improvements are there. This should be an 8 or 9 win team. I haven't said that in a long time. This should be an 8 or 9 win team.
Yeah.
So,
and you got to look back to last year too at 7-5 and how close they were to 9-3.
Exactly.
With the problems you just mentioned.
Yep. And then you got Dylan Ryle taking another step. Like, 9 wins is 100% on the table all day.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Ruben runs it with Rye casing. Oh, by the way, Toronto just beat the Phillies in a 3-game series. Love to see it. I always love when the Phillies get beat. Anything Philadelphia getting beat is fine. Let's get one more call in for the end. Let's go. One more call in. Oops, hold on. Let me try it again. I'm going to drop us in the chat here. One more call in before we close the show. Click that link right there. Go ahead and talk about anything. That's everyone's experience with Valentino's. They all love it? Because I've heard mixed opinions. Like, I feel like it's hit or miss with a lot of people in Nebraska Valentino's. I love it.
I love Val's.
I love it. I'm old enough to remember 59-cent tacos. I remember does Jack in the Box still do the 2 tacos for 99 cents?
I don't know. They closed by where I live, so I don't have one really near me.
We're out on the vinegar hot sauces. No, but Rubens were found in Nebraska. Interesting. I didn't know that.
A lot of weird things invented or discovered in Nebraska. Like,
that's interesting. Yeah. I believe the KC game is technically a home game for Cincinnati. They received a payment for agreeing to move it from Lucas Oil and Indy. Did they?
Yes. So
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, because they have it changes the logistics of what they had anticipated. So yeah, that makes sense.
Arrowhead or the Chiefs or whoever behind the deal sold them on we've got a bigger stadium, you can get more generated revenue from ticket sales, which is 100% right. They just didn't anticipate 65,000 Nebraska.
Yeah.
People being there.
Yeah, exactly. It invented in Omaha. Oh, that's a good fun fact. I didn't know that. Ruben Runza would be the bomb. Look, we just created a sandwich. There we go. Let's go talk to Runza. One more call in for the end. Who do you think it'll be? I don't know. Somebody call in. We need to win every freaking game. Can we quit? All right. Not going to finish that. Good thing I like pre-screen pit snipes as I'm reading them. 8-4 making the playoffs. Watch. We might. No, just got out of golf. You know what? I'm trying to learn golf, or I want to learn golf. So anybody who knows golf, tell me what's the tip for a beginner? I'm thinking it's pay for a coach. That's what I'm thinking, because I'm thinking I suck at golf. So me and my wife want to start playing. So I think I got to play and I'm a lefty. So I feel like golf is harder for lefties because I won't be able to find no dang clubs. Family is a cabbage pocket recipe. It's from Germany. The Prussia population is what brought this pocket to Nebraska. Cabbage pocket. What is that, like a hot pocket?
It's a Runza.
Oh, that's what they call it, a cabbage pocket?
That's my guess.
I want to hate the Eagles, but I can't. Well, and the Eagles beat the Chiefs, so I'm not too upset about it. Val's is expensive. Val's is different. Pretty sweet sauce crust is good. I think it's different, and that's what makes it good to me. Huskers dipping from playing Tennessee, making Matt Rule soft for not playing a good team. No.
You can go watch my video. Nebraska didn't dip.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Tennessee tried to dip in 2016, and we said, we'll just reschedule. And Tennessee was like, okay. Then when Nebraska needed to reschedule, Tennessee was like, no. And then they cried like little baby girls on Twitter because they're classic narcissist and gaslighting SEC school.
Exactly. Mike is right. We did not dip. Yeah, that's typical SEC behavior. We did offer. Yep, exactly. Read everything. Forget 90% of it. Justin, yes, go to a pro. They are worth it. Got it. Tip for golf, 9 holes. I need more tips than that. We dipped hard. They just could have played. We asked for Tennessee to reschedule the game. Yep. I think the Greeks call it a pierogi. Whatever that means. All right, guys. I'm going to give you all about 5 more minutes to call in here. We need one more call. If not, we're going to go ahead and move on to conclude the show. Brian, is there any update in the recruiting world?
You want to get to that super chat there real quick?
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I'm going to be so annoying with this soundboard. What's up, guys? Oh, that's crazy.
Whoa, that was crazy.
I can't dial in, but we'll try next week. Other Dave, thank you so much for the $4.99, man. Much appreciated. Try next week, Justin. I'll trade you golf lessons for workout lessons. Hey, I got you, bro. I'm a personal trainer out here. So I don't know if you got me on Twitter at X at @the_H-Town Husker. You can DM me on there, and I'll get you set up for sure. Yep, no problem at all, man. So I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll take some golf lessons though. I really need that. Me and the wife want to start, so I will definitely thank you so much for the $4.99. Thank you for tuning in, man.
Thank you, Dave.
Why isn't Nelson Wheeler getting an offer?
Because he's 5'9" and he's 200 pounds and ran like an 11.4 100 meter.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I mean he's not slow, but he's not fast either. And on top of that, like you got DeSephon Walker, you're probably going to get him or Brian Bonner or Jamal Rule. Like you got 3 really good running backs that you're in on.
Yep.
And like DeSephon and Bonner both were being really heavily pursued by Notre Dame. And then Notre Dame got a commitment and then another commitment at running back. And then KU, for DeSephon Walker's case, got a commitment from a 4-star running back. So like it's kind of just narrowing in on Nebraska for DeSephon Walker if they can secure his commitment, and then you'll be fine. I don't think we're going to get much with Brian Bonner, but yeah.
Golfing with a consistent partner is learning with you makes a world of difference. When you start hacking it halfway through 9, they can maybe see what you're doing. Yeah, I think actually it's funny because I saw my wife ordered this little like home little putting thing too, like just came in when I got home from boxing. So
you could get a simulator.
Yeah, but those don't you have to have like a big setup for those?
You know, it's a great question. I don't know.
Keep your head down. Don't overpower it. Let the club do the job. Beer works. Oh, we got Bone Leg calling in. Beer works also. Beer typically works. Bone Leg, corn fed. What's up, my man? How we doing?
Not bad. I was listening to some other football shows, and they were talking about some recruits, and they had mentioned one that was 6'6", 300 pounds, and they were saying that that's a high majority muscle. Can you imagine someone 6'6", 300 pounds?
Solid muscle.
David Huffkin's like that right now.
Yeah, David Huffkin's massive. And that's a
who was it that they were talking about in that show, Bone?
I can't remember. It was a show where like they were talking about 2026 recruits and 2027 recruits. I want to say the guy's name was Wilson Dittman, that talks about, the recruits and stuff. But he said the guy was 6'6", 300 pounds, and man, that to me sounds like, holy smokes, I'd definitely run from the guy. I don't know about you guys, but I would, but
Yeah, I'm going to break down the visitors tomorrow. I wonder, I think Kelvin Obo is in that 6'6", 300 pound range. He's an offensive tackle for class of 2026 that's visiting. Hayden Ainsworth is a guard from Mississippi, 6'5", 6'6", 300 or so pounds. Trying to think who else. Rex Waterman's visiting, 6'5", 6'6", 300 pounds, offensive guard as well.
Yeah, I heard there was like a lot of blue chip ones coming, like 4- and 5-star people, for 26 and 27.
Yeah, it's loaded.
Yeah. It's a massive group of people, and there's a lot of high level guys that are coming out for sure.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted your input on someone that big. I mean, if they were in front of you or running towards you, would you stand there and make a block, or would you get out of the way?
Because not only at 6'6", like in like that size and that muscle, do you have that strength, but you have that you're not too tall to where you can. I feel like you you look at a guy like David Huffkin, he's got those long limbs like for leverage as well. I just feel like that's a perfect build for kind of those in the trench works, like the D line, O line, D end, that type of thing. Because you get a little like 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", you start getting a little too tall. I think 6'6" and kind of in that 250, 300 ranges is a specimen of a person. Yeah, that's a freak of nature right there.
Yeah,
because you look at Huffkin's build, and he looks like he is a grown man, but like he looks like a man amongst boys. And when you put him next to like the other college kids, especially with his muscle maturity and all that. But yeah, if you get a guy who's 6'6", 300 coming in, and then you add some muscle maturity, that's a monster, dude. That is a monster. That's a problem.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I just wanted your input on it, so when were you going to talk about the 26 and 27 recruits then?
Well, I've been doing like positional recruiting breakdowns for like the last 2 weeks. So there's one video for every position. I kind of group some of them together, and then tomorrow
down in like chapters or something, or
what's up?
Is it broke down in like chapters or by names of the recruits, or how did you do it?
Yeah, so the one I did today, I have it in the description. I have it chaptered out for each player. And then I didn't do it on the previous ones. They're not all that long, except for maybe like one or two. Usually most of them are like 8 to 10 minutes. But then I'll put like the player profile up on the screen so you can kind of track who I'm talking about. And then tomorrow I'll have the 9 official visitors that are coming into town. I'll have probably be a 7-10 minute video on that, because I covered a lot of it already. It's just more of just to kind of bring back up who's coming to town this weekend.
Wow, that sounds pretty interesting. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. Nice talking to you.
Hey, appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. All right. Let's see. Let me get into the rest of your comments before we close out here. Why can there be a limit to the transfer portal player in terms of money, NIL, and reward players that stay? Seems like that would help players not test the market so much. It's the Wild West.
someone's income. I think that is illegal.
It's the Wild West right now, and it's going to take. It literally is going to take like a collective bargaining agreement, I think, to be able to come up with some kind of structure like that. Like there's going to have to be some kind of unionization between the players, and that to come to that kind of collective bargaining agreement to be able to put stuff in place like that, and that the players will have to agree to, that both sides agree to kind of make sure that this kind of is a cohesive and doesn't continue to just get crazier and crazier, because that's at this point it's getting a little out there. And so this is going to probably happen sooner than later, where something like that's going to have to happen. I don't know how, but it's going to.
Yeah, it needs to be like the NFL model, where you can have the CBA, you can have a salary cap of some sort for each program, basketball, volleyball, football, etc. And unfortunately, this Judge Wilkins lady out in California has, originally I thought she had like good intentions with this house settlement thing, and then it just keeps getting pushed back and it keeps getting pushed back. And we might get a ruling on June 27th, I want to say, around that time frame. And we might not. I mean, we have no clue at this point.
Yep. Exactly. Simulator garage will do for a simulator. 4 auto bids going to be enough to make the Big Ten happy.
Yeah, why not?
I'd say so. Yeah.
4 of 16.
I think that's fair. We're going to have to talk about the 511 model one day too. I have a simulator on my balcony just to have to bring it in and out the electronics. I need to look into that then. Ooh, yeah. There you go, Dave. Always wanted one. First mistake. Yeah. My nephew 6'8", 308 played JUCO. That is a monster. I would not want to line up against opposite side your nephew. Don't bring up. I'm just gonna let these comments slide through here. Recruited Bigfoot with a straight face. These are giants. Not all can suit the play in the NCAA. Yeah, there's monsters all over the place, but now you have athletic 6'8", 300-pound monsters, which is absurd. When JMB detailed some of their encounters, say it buried 1,000 claims from forums. You know, get some stuff from the forums sometimes.
Steal stuff from my DMs.
That's also, oh yeah. But anyways, thanks everybody for tuning into the show. Appreciate all of y'all stopping by. Yeah, you look out for a person so long and they step on your toes, you can only take so much, but appreciate everybody who called in. Thank y'all so much. Everybody who donated, everybody who liked, appreciate that. And like Brian said, we got some recruiting stuff coming up for y'all. Also, got some more video content. Me and Brian are actually sitting down and we're discussing our schedules, so that way we can both that way I'm going to start putting out more content as well, since I've been on a little hiatus from the content with kind of my personal training and stuff like that and other stuff going on. So trying to get back in the swing of that. So y'all stay tuned for that. We're going to come up with a fixated schedule that will let y'all know our upload schedule. We're also going to do some members only content as well, or members first content. So y'all stay tuned for that. And, if you want some of the best, and I won't say we have the best recruiting news here, I do want to say that, what's his face over there does a great job. Oh my God, the guy that's over at, who's the recruiting guy for, not Husker Online, the young kid,
at Rivals.
Yeah. Is that it? What's his name?
Tim Verghese,
something like that. Tim Verghese, something like that. He does a great job. He does an awesome job. But like he does a great job in the recruiting stuff. But as far as like non-rivals, non-on-3, I feel like this is the best place you can come for actual recruiting stuff that you can't get anywhere else, from actual inside sources. So appreciate everybody who tunes in to here. Let's see if we got any more comments. 4 likes. Yeah, come on. Let's drive the likes up a little bit, guys. Help us out a little bit. Kind of putting out misinformation title to get clicks and change the title to it later. Say never change it. Yeah,
I just want to clarify. I meant like what player you were talking about. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Oh,
that way I
watched through, so I had to say. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, no, you're fine, Bone. I
no,
you we're talking about.
We're not getting on you.
Some info on him.
We're not getting on you. If you throw that name, it's a bag of worms. But yeah,
all good. No worries.
Massive Voice College Football for Life. Justin with the mic drop. Appreciate everybody.
Wait.
Wait.
Oh, I'm on the wrong one. Okay, all right. Sorry, hold on. There we go. Hold on.
Okay, I got to turn that off. I got to figure this.
You got to do a
damn-
whole episode with the voice changer.
All right, I got to figure out these pedals. Okay, there's a robot. All right, appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central for the regular Tuesday live show. So we'll see y'all then, and I appreciate everybody tuning in again. So thank y'all so much, and yep, have a good day, and see y'all Tuesday.